Hey Jade, are you there? I've just finished my work for the day, and I seriously can't refrain myself from checking up on you. Is our precious baby boy doing well?
Oh, hi, honey. I know you work hard for us every day, so you don't have to text or call me so often. Yes, our child is doing just fine. I'm on my ninth month of pregnancy, so the movements are much less noticeable now.
You know what? I'm really looking forward to the day our son is born. I know that our little boy will put a smile on everyone's face. He'll be the center of attention wherever he makes an appearance.
Yes, I'm overly excited as well. I know it will be the most magical day of my life. I can't help but think that our little one is just as excited as we are to finally take their first breath of fresh air.
I can already picture our son growing up to be a brave and strong man, just like his father. I imagine him being fearless in the face of danger, always willing to take on any opponent, and coming out on top. I also imagine him pursuing a career in a traditionally masculine field, such as firefighting, engineering, or even piloting. But even better, I dream of him becoming a police officer just like me, ready to ass whoop any bad guys.
Oscar, I know you're into traditional masculinity, but not all men need to be that way. In fact, we don't even know if our child is a boy or a girl yet. I think we should avoid imposing too many expectations on our child and just let things happen naturally. That would be the best way to handle everything when our child finally arrives.
What do you mean, Jade? Our child is undoubtedly a boy, not a frail girl who can't even take care of herself and will eventually become a burden to our family. On the other hand, if we have a boy, our son is destined to achieve great things in life. He'll become a robust and powerful man. He will be the type who has women in his pocket and has everything going on for him.
Oscar, I know that our child will become a great person regardless of their gender. We shouldn't put too much importance on whether they're a boy or a girl because their gender does not define who they are. What matters most is that we raise them to be kind, compassionate, and intelligent.
But honestly, why do you think that there's any chance we'll have a girl? I know we've done everything we can to increase our chances of having a boy. We timed our conception perfectly. You've been following a carefully curated diet, and you're taking all the right vitamins. We've even been following every tip we could find on the internet. I'm sure our child will be a boy. There's no doubt about it.
I know you've been hoping for a boy for a long time, but the odds of conceiving a boy or a girl are actually very similar. Even with what seem to be the most effective methods, it will only increase our chances of having a boy slightly. So, it's important not to get too hung up on whether the baby is a boy or a girl. What's most important is that we're there for each other and enjoy this special time in our lives.
Oh well, I know that there's no guarantee. But I would be disappointed if our child turns out to be a girl. I'm not going to lie. But on the other hand, why should we focus on the negativity when our kid isn't even born yet? Look, let's just say that our child turns out to be a beautiful and healthy boy, right? Then we have plenty of things to worry about, such as choosing the right name, teaching them to be strong and independent, and giving them the proper training to become a real man.
Honey, our kids are their own people, and they will have their own dreams and goals for the future. We can't dictate who they want to be. That's not right at all.
Fine. You're giving me those lectures again. But serious talk here. Isn't it a great disadvantage for our kid if they're born as a girl? I know that women still face profound discrimination in many areas of life, such as gender pay gap, violence, and harassment. Honestly, all I ever wanted is for our child to live the best life they could ever have. And being a boy means that they already have an enormous head start in life, don't you think?
Oscar, I think you're making a big assumption. Just because someone is a girl doesn't mean they're at a disadvantage. And just because someone is a boy doesn't mean they have a good head start. It all comes down to how they portray themselves as human beings.
Please, Jade, I'm trying to be positive here. And I certainly don't need to hear more of your lectures. Now back to the main point. I'm thinking about the possible names to give our son. I'm thinking of something like Benjamin, Arthur, or Alexander. These are all names that indicate strength and power, and they would definitely suit our son.
What about girls' names? Did you also think about that, in case our child is a girl?
Girls' names? Well, to be honest, I haven't thought about it, because I don't think that our child would turn out to be a girl. But in that worst case scenario,
What do you mean by worst case scenario? Honestly, Oscar, I've been trying to stop myself from saying this for a very long time, but now I feel the need to make it clear to you. It doesn't matter if we have a boy or a girl. The most important thing is that we get to welcome our child into the world and shower them with our love.
okay. I was just saying, don't be so triggered.
So, what names would you call our daughter? I've given it a lot of thought and I'm undecided between Amelia, Chloe, or Grace. These are all beautiful names for a girl, and I hope that our daughter will love them just as much as I do.
Those are such ridiculous names, Jade. Honestly, if we're unlucky enough to have a girl, then I suggest we should go with names like Hunter, Drew, or Dylan. At least it will help our child to man up a little.
Why do you expect a girl to man up, Oscar? I really don't get you at this point.
Well, why not? If our kid is a girl, then she needs to be a tough girl, or else she'll crumble right at the moment she faces the cruel world out there.
Oh, okay. You got a point there.
Good. Finally, you agree with me on something. But enough about names and stuff. Let's just hope that our kid is a boy, because it is the outcome that I expect the most when you get out of the delivery room. Jade! Come back here right now. Arthur is crying and I don't know how to make him stop. Seriously, it's been like this for 30 minutes straight. Just come back home and do something. I can't take this any longer. This is really irritating.
Can you check if he's hungry, tired, or uncomfortable somehow? I'm still at the grocery store buying necessary things for us, so I won't be able to get home for another hour or so.
Then how do you expect me to handle a crying baby all by myself? This isn't fair at all. I'm his dad, not a babysitter. Seriously, his crying is so loud. It's like an airplane taking off right next to me.
I know newborns can be a handful. Our son's still learning how to communicate, and he doesn't have the same coping mechanisms as adults. When he's crying, it's not because he's trying to be annoying or difficult. He's just trying to tell you that he needs something. Please be more calm and patient with our boy.
Seriously, I thought if our child were a boy, they wouldn't cry this much.
Oscar, please. There's no scientific basis for the idea that boys cry less than girls. All newborns cry a lot, regardless of their gender, but they'll eventually outgrow it by the time they are 3 or 4 months old. I'm sure Arthur will cry much less as he gets older.
It's all your fault. You spoil him too much. Stop doing that, or else he'll become a weakling. You know what? If he continues crying non-stop like this, I may have to resort to stronger measures, and I know that you won't like it.
What stronger measures, Oscar? What are you talking about?
Well, I tried to ignore him, shout at him, shake him, but none of that worked. Maybe if I just simply cover his mouth, then he won't be able to let out a single sound of crying.
What? How dare you do that to our son? Have you lost your mind? Your reckless actions could have lasting negative consequences for our son and could even cause him serious harm. Need I remind you that he's just a newborn? He shouldn't be subjected to any kind of physical or emotional abuse.
How should I know? Besides, it's nowhere near torture. It's my own way to toughen up our son so that he won't become a weak, impotent little boy when he grows up. What's so wrong about it? Seriously, all I'm doing is just helping Arthur, and I know one day you'll thank me for that.
No, Oscar. Stop what you're doing right now and wait until I get back. I'm almost home. Don't do anything stupid. And don't cover his mouth with anything. It would literally put our son's life in danger.
Fine. Just get back already. I'm tired of watching over this crybaby. I swear, if this wasn't my kid, I would have put him up for adoption a long time ago. Jade, when are you gonna stop spoiling that puny little boy? He needs to learn how to stop relying on his parents and become independent. Your parenting is doing him no good. You're literally ruining his future.
What do you mean? I'm not spoiling Arthur at all. I'm just raising him like every normal parent would do. What's wrong with the way I'm bringing up our son? I seriously don't understand.
When will you stop assisting our weakling son with every task that I assign to him? When I say that Arthur needs to pull out the weeds in the yard, clean out the attic, or mow the lawn, I mean that he needs to do all of these things by himself, and you should stay out of it. Do you hear me?
Honey, let's not put too much strain on his little body. Our son is still developing and he needs to focus on growing and learning. These heavy tasks are not appropriate for him at this stage.
You women never have the slightest clue. Your way of thinking is toxic to our son. He needs to man up and face the real cruel world out there, which is 10 times scarier than where he is now. You know what? If he grows up and becomes a wimp, it's all your fault, and those stupid fairy tales that you read to him when he was little. Besides, I don't want to see him drawing or painting some mindless things. That's for girls. Boys like him need to indulge in masculine interests, like sports or martial arts.
Oscar, 3-year-old kids are naturally curious and exploratory. There's nothing wrong with their son drawing what he likes. In fact, it's perfectly normal and healthy.
No, it's not normal at all. Not in my world. This needs to stop. Arthur needs to be a strong and independent man just like his father. From now on, I'll raise him my own way. I'll teach our son how to become a real man like he's destined to be.
Does teaching our son to become a real man mean screaming at him or threatening to lock him up in the basement just because he doesn't do as you tell him to? What kind of father are you, really? If you do anything like that ever again, I swear I'm gonna call the police on you. And I'm not even kidding.
Ha, good joke. I'm a policeman. But sure, go ahead and call the police on me. All I'm trying to do is help our son to be tougher and less dependent on his parents.
What are you even saying? Have you lost your mind? He's just a little boy and he's also a human being. He's the one who chooses to live his life just the way he wants it, not you or me. Don't let your obsession over having a strong and muscular son take its toll on you.
No, you're completely wrong. He's our son, and we as parents have all the rights in the world to raise him the way we want. I have already planned out how I will raise our son. I will use law enforcement discipline to instill in him the values of strength, resilience, and self-discipline. I have compiled a list of daily activities that he will need to strictly follow as part of his training to become a real man.
Law enforcement discipline? Why do you expect our little son to do all kinds of things like this? Seriously, I don't know what's going on in your head right now. I'm really lost for words.
Why not? He's my son, and he needs to be tough like his dad. I know for sure that one day Arthur will be thanking me for raising him in this kind of way.
Oscar, Arthur is only 7 years old. His body is not yet fully developed, and this kind of training will do more harm than good. It will drain his physical and mental health, and it's likely to have a negative impact on his overall well-being. I also doubt that you asked Arthur what he thinks about this training. He's a child, and he deserves to have a say in his own life.
Why do I even need to ask our son about it? That's the stupid way of thinking that you women always adopt. Seriously, do you want our son to grow up and become a scaredy cat just like you? Of course not. Now, if you don't have anything else to say, then leave everything to me. I'll raise Arthur the right way and make sure that he'll become a tough man who doesn't need everyone else's help.
You know what, Oscar? I'm not going to let you force Arthur into doing things that he doesn't want to do. He needs to be able to grow up and make his own choices about his life, and not just be the person you want him to become.
So you're saying that you don't agree with my way of raising my own son? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Need I remind you that I am the alpha male in this household? I'm making all the money, so I get to make the important decisions. If I say that Arthur is receiving the training that I've already planned out for him, then he will. No questions asked.
Well, if you're so tough as a father, why didn't you do anything when our son got bullied at school the other day? Arthur told me everything. You just stood there and watched him get beaten up. Yet, you claim yourself to be a father who's worthy of raising our son? What kind of logic is that?
Oh, our son already came crying to his mom to tattle about that? What a wimp! You know what? I was the one who paid the bullies to do so. I want our son to realize how much of a wimp he is so that he could change his way of thinking and become more of a man that I want him to be.
You what? You paid some bullies to beat up our son? You're a monster. I can't live with you anymore. I'm done.
Fine, then I'm kicking both you and our useless son out of the house. If you don't follow my rules, then there's no point in keeping you around anymore. In fact, you and Arthur are equally as useless. I'd be more than glad not to see you in my life any longer.
What, so you're just gonna get rid of us like that?
What do you expect? You don't obey my rules, so you don't deserve to live under the same roof with me in this house anymore. Just get back here and get your belongings out of my house and bring along our son with you too. I don't want to see anything that has to do with you two anymore. Hi, Jade. I heard your mom said that you're gonna come back home with us, and you would bring Arthur along. What happened? Something wrong between you and Oscar?
Yeah, it's a long story. We just had an argument yesterday and he just forced me to move out of his house.
Really? Did he mistreat you and Arthur? If that's the case, I'll make sure he'll regret every wrong little thing that he did to you.
You know how my husband has always been obsessed with raising a strong, independent boy? Well, it's only gotten worse as Arthur got older. He's constantly pushing Arthur to do things that are way too difficult for him, and he's always criticizing our son when he doesn't meet his expectations.
What? How could he do that to our precious grandson Arthur? This is unacceptable. I know that he's a police officer and he may live a tough life, but forcing a kid to live his own way is plain cruelty. Arthur is just a child. He doesn't have the same experiences or understanding of the world as his father. Forcing him to live by his father's rules is only going to make him feel isolated and resentful.
I tried to talk my husband out of it, hoping that he would change his mind. I begged him to reconsider, but he was adamant. He told me that I was a bad influence on Arthur and that both me and my son were no longer welcome in his house. Just yesterday, my husband admitted to me that he had paid some bullies to beat our son up. He said that he did it so that Arthur could learn his lesson and become a real man. I was shocked and horrified. I couldn't believe that my husband would do something so cruel to our own son. I told him that he was a monster and that I never wanted to see him again. I'm worried about Arthur's safety and I don't know what to do.
What a jerk your husband is. I'm really furious now, Jade. This is a serious matter. We're talking about child abuse, and your husband deserves to go to jail for what he had done to you and Arthur.
I know, Dad. Oscar's behavior has been getting worse and worse. He's been yelling at our son more, throwing away any toys he thinks are girly or not good for Arthur. I've been keeping an eye on Arthur 24/7 because I'm afraid Oscar will hurt him.
You know what? This is unacceptable. No one, I say no one, messes with my daughter and grandson and still gets out alive. I've had enough. I will not stand by and let this man bully my daughter and grandson. He thinks he's the alpha male, but I'm going to show him what a real alpha male is. I'm going to make him pay a heavy price for his actions.
What are you gonna do, Dad? Please don't do anything to hurt Oscar. It's not worth it, and it's not legal. I know what he did was wrong, but I don't want you to go to jail for trying to defend me and Arthur. I know you're a strong man, and you can easily take Oscar down. But violence is not the answer.
Don't worry, sweetheart. I won't do anything to hurt Oscar. I'm just going to teach him a lesson, that's all. I'm not going to let Oscar get away with what he did to you and Arthur. He needs to learn that his actions have consequences. I'll promise he'll be safe and sound, but he'll come crawling back on his knees and begging for your forgiveness. Hey Jade, what's up? Good day today, huh?
Why are you texting me again? I thought you already kicked me and our son out of the house and said that you didn't want anything to do with us anymore.
Well, about that, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean what I said at all. I know I was stupid. Please tell your dad not to punish me. I'm really scared.
My dad? What did he do to you?
I was surprised when I received a ticket to a boxing match from your dad. He said it was his way of making peace and saying sorry on your behalf. I didn't know what to expect, but I decided to go. When I got to the arena, I was shocked to see that your dad was the one fighting. He was up against a much bigger man, but he didn't seem intimidated. After the match, your dad met me in person. He said that if I ever did you or Arthur any wrong, I would have the same fate as his opponent. He fought like a lion, and he knocked his opponent out in just a few minutes. I never saw your dad so enraged before. He's always been a peaceful man, but that day he looked like he was going to kill me. His eyes were wild, and his face was twisted with rage. I was so scared that I thought I was going to die.
Oh, lol. Dad told me that too. He told me that he had to bite his tongue to keep from laughing out loud when he saw you scurry away like the little coward that you are. It's ironic how you always go on about being the alpha male, but in reality, you're nothing but a pathetic little wimp, Oscar.
I'm sorry, Jade. I didn't mean to hurt you or Arthur's feelings. It's just that I wanted our son to become a tougher guy, that's all. It's not so bad if you truly think about it, right?
It's not so bad? You must be kidding me. Resorting to violence is never a good way to raise anyone, especially a little vulnerable boy like our son Arthur. He needs to be brought up with all the love and care in the world, not by being subjected to your twisted ways of parenting. Honestly, your actions fill me with dread, and I've had enough of it.
I know it's all my fault. I'm totally wrong. I would do anything to make it up to you and our son. But please tell your dad not to harm me. I'm really scared.
Well, you really don't have to do anything at all, Oscar. I already moved out of your house and I already filed a divorce in court. We will no longer have anything to do with each other, Oscar. That's what you've always been asking for, correct? Well, now you have it.
Wait, divorce? What are you talking about? I was just trying to scare you when I kicked you out of the house. I thought it would teach you a lesson for disobeying me. I never thought you would actually want a divorce. Come on, Jade, don't joke about this.
I'm not joking, Oscar. I've had enough of your cruelty. I've filed for divorce and I've sued you for abusing our son. You're going to jail for every wrongdoing you've committed against me and Arthur. I'm not going to let you get away with this. I'm not going to let you hurt me or Arthur anymore. I'm going to fight for justice and I'm going to win. At long last, I resolved to divorce Oscar and move on with my own life in the company of my dear son Arthur and my father Henry. My dad has always been aware of how to provide the best care for me and safeguard me from any potential danger. I'm incredibly proud to have a father like him. Following his release from prison, Oscar has continued to contact me via text and phone calls, imploring me to reconcile with him. However, I'm adamant in my resolve to sever all ties with him. He also expresses a desire to see our son Arthur, but our child refuses to do so owing to the childhood trauma that Oscar inflicted on him. My son has grown into a beautiful and vivacious young man, always eager to explore and learn new things. He hasn't limited himself to any particular field, and with great determination, he has achieved a black belt in martial arts, is a talented artist, and has even dabbled in acting. I'm confident that no matter what profession he chooses, he will excel in it.